What else would I do? Hi, Michelle here.
Hi, Michelle.
Got something new for you today. I'm here with,
Diana Lisa. Hi.
and we are hoping to be able to share some lovely challenges that we're going to do between us. We've got one set up already, but we're not sure what the others will be. You'll have to wait and see. But first of all, maybe it would be nice. I haven't really talked about myself on my YouTube channel. I'm not sure if you have, Diana. Have you on yours?
No, I'm too new. I have not. That's a good idea, Michelle.
So maybe we can just share a little bit about ourselves and ask a few questions and then talk about what we might do.
Let's do that.
So I guess for me, I really only started doing art in 2018. I was told I was useless at art when I was at school. So didn't, well, I think it can happen sometimes. So yeah, I think I just decided that I wanted to do something new. I've been doing cross stitch, but my eyesight wasn't good enough to do that anymore. So I picked watercolors basically and just went from there. So I haven't been going very long, really. What about you?
I started, I think, about 2020, maybe the tail end of 2019, but I didn't really start with watercolor or anything. I started with all the things that, like, for bullet journaling. I thought, oh yeah, this is cool. And so I went through umpteen number of bullet journals and bought all the pins and all stickers and all the things. And then at some point, I don't know when, I just stopped that and then started watching a lot of watercolor. And so I really loved the medium. And I was one of those who went right out and bought the Arche, the most expensive watercolor paper, and actually painted on that. And now I won't buy it because it's so expensive. But I do have early days of watercolor on Arche
That's so
watercolor
funny.
paper. Yep.
Not knowing what we're buying and working on the really expensive paper.
Right.
But no, I mean, I started off with some kiddie watercolor paints. They weren't very good at all.
Yeah.
But it was really looking at things on YouTube that got me going
Me
and
too.
along with others, really, in order to try and work out what it is that was my style that I'll be honest, I still am not 100% sure of.
Oh, for
If
sure.
there is, I don't know. Yeah. So
Yeah.
do you prefer sort of landscapes, animals? Do you have any particular subject matter that you prefer?
Not animals. I would say landscape at the moment because it's something that you can, yeah, that's what it looked like to me, and put it on there. So I think I struggle still with perspective a lot. And so that's why I've not dive or dove, yeah, into animals. So animals, no, I think they're cute. Birds, yes. Birds all the way, all the time. But yeah, no on the animals, but I prefer landscapes. But I did start with florals, a lot of just florals. Yeah. What
Mm.
about you? What do you like to do the
Oh,
most?
I think I really started most with landscapes. That was what was always,
Oh, you started with it.
yeah, it was something that I was drawn to initially. Trees in particular, trees, and more trees. So the first books that I bought were all how to, do trees in watercolor, various different versions of, and I still love doing trees.
Your trees
So
are particularly nice, I have to
I
say.
do
They're
like
good.
landscapes, trees, not so keen on florals, but I will push myself sometimes. I never feel as though I'm that good at animals, but I can surprise myself sometimes. And more recently, maybe with the influence of yourself and others, Diana, birds. So yes, yeah.
Birds. Yeah, they're so cute. Yes. But I find them hard to capture when they're like when I'm out in the landscape to try to capture a bird. I remember letting somebody see one of my landscapes and they were looking and it's like, is that a bird? I was like, well, it was supposed to be a bird. And I'll just cover it up and now it's grass. There you go. No more bird. No more bird.
People are another thing. I never put people in my artwork until probably about 10 months ago.
Yeah.
I was really scared of putting people into my pieces of artwork but now I'm not so bothered. I learned to do the carrot person, and it evolved from there.
Oh, carrot person. So it's a
Yes,
carrot. Okay.
with a head on the top. Yeah.
Now, when you do the carrot with the head on the top, do you think or use your fingers and go, okay, head 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, make sure there's like 7 heads or 8 heads, however many heads it's supposed to be? No, you just go into it. Yeah. That
I
is one
tend
area that I want to dive
I
into.
tend to look at, right, whereabouts, because I'm usually putting them in landscapes, to be fair.
Right.
So I will go, right, it's near that twig and that part of the tree. So if I
Right.
make sure the head's there and the feet are there, that should be just about right.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what's in the middle. The head and the feet are in the right place.
And I mean, I haven't had any proper art lessons at all. So
Myself
everything
either.
I do is self-taught. And for
Right.
me, it's fun, and it's very much a mindful activity, which I think is important to keep stress levels down for not just myself, but for everyone, really. So I think it's more about me having fun with it. And if something turns out really nice and I'm proud of it, that's a bonus.
Right.
But the real part is having fun, having a go, and the colors, loving colors, really.
Yeah, the colors are good. That's something that I've just started learning is more not color theory per se, but just mixing. Know that if I grab red, blue, and yellow, the primary colors, that I'm going to get this grayish brown. And before I would, at the beginning, I would just, well, I have to buy gray or I have to buy brown. And it's like, oh, you really don't have to. And I didn't get that. So now I get that. So that's nice. What was I going to say about, that you said you just started doing art. And then you said in the beginning that you were told that you weren't any good at art. But around when was that? So in America, in here in the States, we call that like either elementary school, middle school, high school. So around what
that would be primary school. I would have been between 5 and 11.
Oh,
That's
okay.
where our primary school ages fit.
And that's where they deemed your artwork rubbish.
And that's where it was deemed that don't bother doing anything like this. Yeah.
And I didn't do art as a child either, but I have this vivid memory of being small and in a wooden type house with a small table with things on it like glue and glitter and paint. And I don't remember what I did. I just remember this feeling of being very happy and then coming out. I must have had a product because I remember like coming out and to show it to my mother. And I think I've asked my mother, like, where was that? What was that? And I don't remember her answer. So I don't know where it was. I don't know how it was. Maybe I just dreamed it up, but it's the same every time. So there was definitely a feeling of that. But yeah, I never did it. And so, but once I did it, I was like, I wish, but there's still that pang that I wish I would have started when I was younger. But what can you do? You just go from now. And but I'm having fun with all the things.
Yes, all the things.
All the things. And that will be something.
Particular things, materials. Which ones do you prefer?
Oh, gosh.
Or is it just a bit of everything?
It is a bit of everything, but I do enjoy things that I can make with, and not make abstract, but make, in the landscape, like for the tree or a grass. So I do enjoy Neocolor 2s a lot. I enjoy their Derwent line of graphite pencils, the Lightfast pencils, and watercolor. I use Daniel Smith and a few little handmade watercolors that were gifted to me that I'm not sure where they came from. So I do want to get into a little bit more of the watercolor marker, like the Winsor and Newton, or even the Faber-Castell, the ink, those, and I have them all. I'm just figuring out where I want to put them in layering. So what about you, Michelle? What do you reach for first?
Typically, I will either, one of two things, I will either reach for watercolor or I will reach for something like my carbon platinum.
Oh, yeah.
Ink pen, which is, waterproof. So I flit between loving the watercolors just flowing and everything being very loose. to wanting to do line and wash, really, where you use the pen a lot. Well, maybe I always will. I don't, but it's like I can't quite make up my mind which one is more me than the other.
But I think you don't have to make up your mind, or maybe just you'll find out which is more you when you go back into your sketchbooks and count out or your pieces of watercolor paper, like how many times did you do one or the other? So yeah. And that's a fountain pen, right? That one, I think I've asked before and I forget.
Yeah.
Oh yes, it is a fountain pen.
I can bring it up.
Yeah.
That a bit more. There you go. Yeah.
Very nice.
It's got an extra fine nib on it.
I had one time that was just the nib, and it was a bent nib, but the kind that you stick on top of those wooden pens or pencils.
If it would be a Fude, food nib. I have got one, and I do sometimes use that as well because you can get very thin and very thick lines, and that's good fun to use. If I'm just going out sketching outside and I want to keep my materials really limited, then I might just take that one pen because it will do both thick and thin lines.
Right.
And maybe a couple of watercolor pencils or something like that, just to add some color somewhere. So it would be more of a sketch with I don't know, watercolor pencil that I can water down if I want to.
Yeah. There you go. That's another subject for your next YouTube video. I'd like to see that.
Right. So shall we talk about what we're hoping to do together then? Because there's you over there, over the pond in the States. There's me here in the UK.
Oh, we should say where we're at, or at least the general area. In Southern California.
And I'm in East Anglia. Yes.
And Anglia is?
East Anglia is on the east coast. It's the bumpy bit that kind of sticks out with Norfolk, Suffolk, and it goes inland a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, that helps. Yes. Thank you. Oh, yeah. So let's talk about what we want to do, or what I wanted to wrangle you into to do this.
Yes,
so
I have to admit, this was your idea.
I tried to wrangle you in. So I think what we want to do, and correct me if I'm wrong, is meet together, kind of like collaborations where we want to draw together at the same time and record it. So much like we do on our Zoom sessions that we have a reference picture, and then we want to both draw it. And then part of it, the fun is going to be like, Michelle, you used watercolor first, and then you used colored pencils on top, and, just kind of comparing and having fun. There's so much fun in watching another artist that you can talk to, because we can watch a lot of artists on YouTube, but watching another artist that you can talk to and kind of ask them, why are you picking that? Or, woo, what's that going to do?
Absolutely. And it will kind of, hopefully there will be different things going on, because we might not necessarily pick the same materials. With a reference picture, you might hone in on one part of the reference picture. I might try and get the whole thing in, or hone in on a different part. And I think that will be the fun bit. Oh, you concentrated on the boat. I concentrated on the cliffs.
Right. So, that is something that I had to learn, because when I first started, if I saw a reference picture, I thought, I have to draw everything that's in there. And you don't. You just focus on the parts that you like. And so that's been very freeing, and that causes a decision making. So it's like, but yes. And I hope that we'll also get to talk about our materials and show each other the materials that we're using. And I think both of us have a little stash of plein air kits, and we could get into using those or talking about those as well. What else do you think we're going to be able to do?
To share the equipment that we have. Yeah, lots of the goodies, as I call them, all the goodies.
All the goodies of art, creating, making.
And different makes of or brands of watercolors, and all the different types of pencils. And, well, why did you pick that pencil, Diana? I could ask. And you could say, well, why did you go with that palette? Right. And sometimes it might just be because that's the one we feel like we want to use that day. But I think it will be nice for anyone that wants to watch us to see how we use different materials, possibly, to do the same picture, and also maybe do different aspects of the same picture. We might not necessarily be doing the picture in exactly the same way.
Right. And along the way, we can gab about our materials or our plein air kits or our art stuff that we like to gab about.
Hopefully we'll just be chatting like we are now, and it'll be like having the two of us in the room.
Yes.
For those that are watching, a little bit of a conversation whilst we do some art.
Yeah.
We're going to think of all different types of challenges, aren't we? Not necessarily just reference pictures, but we've got some other fun ideas, haven't we?
Yes, and limited
sleeves.
Yep, limited materials maybe, or pick the material. Maybe we'll pick each other's material for them, and then we have to use that. So I think it's going to be fun. I can't wait to get started.
Yes, looking forward to it. And we hope that you will be too. So look out for our initial, what will we call our initial one?
Oh, that's a good idea. We haven't even come up with a name.
So, I mean, we can, this is like our premiere of what we're going to be doing.
Right.
What we call our very first collaboration.
You mean like the title of the collaboration or the overall title describing what we're doing?
Do we want a title for this series, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Like
maybe a series.
USA and UK collaboration.
Oh, there you go.